Dennis Mulhern is working at the loom right now. Could you tell us what you're doing here?
This is what we call hand weaving. Hand weaving, making our cloth for ladies' garments and men's garments of high end. It's part of our heritage here for the past 100 and odd years, like, you know. So hand weaving started with narrow looms, and then they went to wide looms, and, which is classed as more modern today than it was in the days. So it was a way of life that time. If you could weave in it, going back in the 60s and 50s and 40s, you were classed as well off because you had an income coming all the time, if you know what I mean. And everybody, you do the warping. The warping is done there, the colours, that's my job. I do all the colouring here to work out the designs and that.
And how old is this loom itself?
This loom is 150.
150 years old?
Going back in the ages.
Yeah.
They used to be smokers and they just lit a cigarette. They just lit a cigarette sitting there, see the way black and...
Wow.
That's their class is solid oak, but it's all dark in there, and you do the same over there. See?
How complicated is it, Dennis, to keep these repaired and making sure that you have...
They're not too bad. They get a couple of years out of maybe them cords are hard wearing. They're like somebody using fishing nets, like, you know. And maybe these are all for adjusting. They're what you want to... Different weavers have different lengths of cords, like, you know. And this
Really?
here slips up and down, and you could shorten it or lengthen it or whatever way the weaver wants to be. And you can go that way and that way.
Very, very impressive. It looks to me like when you're working between the pedals and all your knowledge about all the things you need to be doing simultaneously, it looks to me like you're playing an instrument.
Yeah.
So how much is an individual weaver, just that, different than everybody else?
Well, the weaver, there's a lot of quality involved in making good cloth. Yeah, we always say you get a good weaver and a bad weaver. And some of them used to be, they would be swiping like that there, and they'd be banging, and then we would cost that as not a good weaver. You make rough cloth, like. It's all to do with technique. It's a timing. All the time you come in, and you come in the same, see, every time. Otherwise, you get a lot of railway cloth. Like, see, anybody can weave when you get a heavy cloth and you bang, bang, bang. When you're weaving someone like this here, that is a medium weight cloth, that's all based on feel.
How many years have you been doing this?
The combination. I started out when I was 15 weaving. I was weaving then as a full-time weaver, paid by the yard. I was making more than a man's wage at that time, at 15 years.
Jeez.
And I would bring it home to my parents, and my parents would give me some pocket money, and they would have the rest because I was the second oldest of a family of 8, see, and it was all needed around. My father used to make a full web of cloth every week, and we were self-sufficient because we grew everything, and that money was spent on clothes and shoes and that. So we were classed as well off in one way, even though we had no money. People didn't have money that time. It all circled around, like, you know.
Amazing.
You wouldn't be seeing inside of a bank.
You started at 15, though, but how old are you now? About 55?
Me? I wish I would often say to me, would it be lovely to turn back the clock and do a lot of things that I could do, that I should have been doing at 55, like, because we're more established now, we're getting more comfortable. When I was 55, we were struggling trying to pay bills and pay everything.
Is there repetitive motion injuries that come from being a weaver?
No. There's weavers there. Some of them weavers there that lived till they were 90, like, you know, and they had a long life because they were comfortable because they were taking home a wage to their families and all. Every one of them would have 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 of family, like, you know, and they were classed as making a good income. Then times they were making more than what we class as the working for the local development now. You were getting maybe nearly twice as much because you were making it by the yard and you were production all the time, like, you know. So we're classed as lucky to be able to have that skill. And my father was weaving, but he was weaving at 12 years. He would go on he would go and weave when he come home from school. And the weaving place was only next door to. So there was a lot of history going back in the times, like, you know.
Kind of feels to me, as much as it is manual labor, that this is also about art.
It's a lot of art, yeah. But there's a lot of art is this timing thing, this pulling, and when you change your feet, you have to make sure the threads are up, because if we're only halfway, the shuttle will break them when they're coming through. See, so you have to have it opened, and that timing has to. And every time you put the shuttle there, you have to see this stops it as well as it's like a break, like, you know, and it's that coordination. I'll just show you how that end of it is, and it'll give you whatever with no end on the bobbin. That's the funny one. So it'll just give you an idea of part of the art of making good cloth. Going back at the time, we used to have 3 shuttles, actually. 3. And that was more art. Like, when we were taught in the years, we were taught to weave, to see there's 3 boxes. I'm only using 1 at the moment. And it's more simple. But the 3 boxes was a big combination. You left the hand, you take the shuttle that way, you know. So that's a big change compared to 1 shuttle now. You see that red one there now?
Yes, sir.
When I throw, see, it's a break as well. That shuttle can be doing 75 miles an hour, like, you know. And otherwise it just bounce. And then you have a slack thread if you don't stop it, see. So you see what happens. See, the thread is always keep still. And it gives you an even selvage, see. That one over there is for, see where the cones are sitting on there in the back?
Yes, sir.
That's how we worked. We could have 4 different colours over there. And how you put them on there makes your pattern, see? And every time you go over and back, it gives you 1 inch, like an inch there, an inch there, an inch there. See the way they're separated coming in there?
Yes, sir.
Every 2 of them's an inch, see? 2.
Yeah.
That's called a lace. And then when it goes through there, it's a pattern. When it comes through this here, it's 2 threads. It comes through the slit, that's the separator. Well, that one there has 8 threads, 8 slits, so that's 16 threads to the inch. That's how, and that goes by the thickness of your thread. And that there is called 9nm in English, like, you know.
It's incredible.
And that's a herringbone. And it'll be more prominent. You can see the way the bone runs that way. Mm-hmm. It'll be more prominent when it's washed and it closes together, you know.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful life's passion, sir. Thank you very much for showing us.
Thanks to you.
Dennis. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see a load of golfers coming.
I hope so too.